councils have a responsibility to ensure that every single dollar of ratepayers' money is delivering value for money. And I think many ratepayers up and down this country have not been seeing that, including in Auckland.
Councils would not be able to increase rates beyond 4% unless given permission from a regulator. Gisborne's mayor is hopeful that
a regulator. Guess who that's going to be from this national-led government? Do you reckon it's going to be someone who wants to see light rail and bike lanes and that kind of stuff be increased or not? Just thinking.
the exemption would apply to her council given the ongoing recovery from Cyclone Gabrielle.
If you look at the Gisborne District Council at this stage, I add 2.5% to our rate bill just to cover recovery work. So we would like to see what are the parameters for those exemptions. Does it apply to work we need to do in the next while?
The government has hinted that regions hit by natural disasters would be considered. Consultation on the rates cap proposal is open for 3 months.
We expect councils to work within their budgets to find efficiencies rather than using ratepayers like ATM machines.
But that's not always.
And just remember, good call, Chewie. Just remember, governments, be they local body or national, when they say work within their budgets, what that means is we're choosing to set the line here. So when it comes to Te Whatu Ora or Wakakotahi or any of those places, the budget that they've got is the budget that the government decides. So when Simeon Brown says things like live within your means, and he didn't use those words in this interview, but he does use it for this and other interviews I've seen of him today, he's saying the means are what we decide. So in other words, you imagine, Chewie, if like I was providing money for you for groceries each week and I said, I'm only going to give you $50. You better live within your means. You need more than $50? Nope, live within your means. You know, this is why these ideas around what a budget is and what a government sets, it's just what they decide. They can decide any amount they want, I mean, being silly, but they choose to make the budget finish here, and they choose to give $14 billion back in tax cuts, and they choose to give $3 billion to landlords, and they choose to spend $1 billion more on ferries because they're morons, and they choose to give $1 billion of tax breaks to big tobacco, for God's sake. These are all choices. They could choose none of those things, and they could have an extra $20-ish billion to put to things like hospitals or to put to things like, supporting rail in Auckland. They choose not to. And then they tell these, it is kind of like your parents telling the kid, this is your budget for your party. And the kid going, well, I need more. Doesn't matter. This is your budget. And that's what they're doing with councils. They're hamstringing them, and they're saying, stay within your means. Remember, whilst they're not, the government's not living within their means. They're borrowing to keep the lights on, telling councils to live within their means. They're telling councils stay to 4% when councils are going, but this has been the MO for the last 50 years. That's why Gore needs $300 million to fix their pipes. That's why I guess Wellington apparently needs 12%. Auckland needs 8%. So what you're doing, government, is just making either the ratepayers double pay by having them pay to go to the pools or use the ferries or get their rubbish, right? Or you're saying that these cities are still going to continue to go backwards and still continue to decline in all the things that these councils are supposed to do.